And one of the things that we can develop is mindfulness in walking meditation. Look at your walking path and keep it very well swept, neat and tidy. It's very inspiring to walk around the monastery and see some of the monks and some of the novices walking past that have, obviously been well used. People have dedicated a lot of time to walking meditation. And in the forest meditation tradition, right back to the time of the Buddha, the monks would walk a lot. The Buddha himself, after his enlightenment, walked for 7 days and 7 nights after his enlightenment, enjoying the bliss of Nibbana. And his walking path is still there in Bodhigaya, 17 steps long. And you can walk next to that path. The very path that the Buddha walked up and down on meditating. Even though he didn't need to meditate anymore, he was enlightened, he still dedicated himself to walking for 7 days and 7 nights. So we have these walking meditation paths. They are there. They'll be to used. You'll find that any good forest meditation monk that comes to Wat Nanachat, be it whoever that monk may be, when they come here, if they walk around the monastery, one of the first things they'll do is go to 2 places. They'll go and inspect the toilets to see how clean they're kept, and they'll go and look at the walking meditation paths of the monks to see how clean their minds are. If the walking meditation paths are overgrown and unswept, then they'll know the standard of this practice in this monastery is the same. But if they see the walking meditation path is cleanly swept and there's fresh footprints on, then they'll know, yes, the monks here are earnest, are sincere, are dedicated to striving. There is a great emphasis in the forest meditation tradition on walking meditation, because the Buddha praised it. And there are many benefits. And I wanted to say something this evening about walking meditation because it is the beginning of the rains, and some of you are not familiar with the practical aspects of walking meditation. The Buddha praised walking meditation has benefits. The first one, obviously, is it's good for one's health, especially in the tropics. That's why in the forest meditation tradition, walking meditation has been a very important part. Many of the forest Ajahns were enlightened not while sitting meditation, but on the walking meditation path. Many of them. And many of them spent a large part of the day walking up and down. For example, Thanajan Singtong. He used to walk up and down so much that the novices would have to fill in his walking meditation path. Sometimes 15, 16 hours a day he'd spend doing walking meditation. So much that there'd be a rut in the path and it'd have to be filled in. Walking meditation has the benefits of being good for one's physical health. It leads to good health. It leads to energy. If you have a lot of dullness in your meditation, you're a person who sits and tends to nod, then don't get into that habit. It's a very bad habit to get into and very hard habit to break. If you nod more than 3 times, get up and do walking meditation. Go to the walking path and walk up and down, because it leads to energy in the body. It leads to good health. It leads to being fit and strong. And so it leads to the advantage of helping to digest the food after at least an hour, if not more. Ajahn Chah used to say that if you're still drowsy, then you shouldn't go to your hut. You shouldn't leave the walking meditation path until you've overcome drowsiness. It's only after overcoming drowsiness that you should go up at your hut. If you need to rest, then do so. But only after overcoming the sense of drowsiness and sleepiness, not before. Otherwise you indulge in sleep. And walking meditation, it helps to digest that food and leads to good health in the process. It also leads to strength in being able to travel on a journey or going on tudong, because obviously in the past monks would travel by foot, and if you're going to go off on tudong, then the monks would increase the hours of walking meditation that they would do, so that they would be strong and healthy and fit for the journey to travel a long way. It also, walking meditation, if one develops it, the concentration that grows and develops on the path, the walking path, is very stable and strong. Why is that? It's because walking meditation and the process of walking is a very coarse physical posture, whereas the lying posture, the sitting posture, or the standing posture is a very still posture. There's no intention needed to maintain those postures. Now, once one takes a sitting posture, it's very easy to maintain the lying posture. One doesn't have to sustain it with intention. But the walking posture, one has to have the intention to take a step forward, to be aware of the surroundings, to be aware of the movement, to be aware of the process of walking. Therefore, it's harder to do. It's harder to develop mindfulness in walking. But if one does sustain and develop samma sati during the process of going up and down on the walking path, then that mindfulness is a mindfulness which will be stable and firm, strong, solid and one-pointed. And when one moves from a walking posture to a sitting posture, or a lying posture, or a standing posture, a posture which is more refined, then that very solid, firm mindfulness and concentration is easy to sustain, is easy to hold for a long period of time. So walking meditation has these benefits and should be developed frequently and often. And how do we develop walking meditation? We choose our path. If you're new to walking meditation, then choose a short path. Say no longer than 20 paces. 20 normal paces is long enough for someone new to walking meditation, because the mind can wander very easily. For someone who's used to walking meditation, then say 30 paces is usually considered the maximum. Certainly no longer than 40 is recommended. And so one stands at one end of the path, gathers one's mindfulness together, and makes a determination by putting one's hands in Anjali before one and reflecting on the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha, and reflecting, this is how the Kruba Ajahns teach walking meditation. Now I'm going to do walking meditation. I'm going to do walking meditation for 1 hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, or 4 hours, or all night, depending, making that determination. I will not stop until the hours that I've determined have passed. I will continually walk, or I will do walking meditation till this object of Dhamma that I'm going to investigate has come to completion. For example, if you're going to investigate the body while doing walking meditation, I will do walking meditation till I've completely investigated the body in all its aspects and mindfulness has been firmly established. Or I'll do walking meditation till the mind has developed strong concentration and mindfulness. And having made that determination, then one clearly determines the object that one is going to use on walking meditation. So the first thing is to reflect on the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. The second thing is determine the time limit that you're going to walk for and not to deviate from that determination. The third thing is to determine the object of your meditation and not to deviate from that during the walking, because it's very easy to get distracted and think, oh, I'll do walking meditation, doing Buddho, and then allow the mind to wander off on other things, thinking about a project or thinking about something in the future or the past. We need to be very clear. Now I'm going to use this as my object of meditation. Usually doing anapanasati, or the meditation on the breath, is not a suitable object for walking meditation. It's too refined in the beginning. Unless your mind is already well established with mindfulness and concentration, the breath is too refined an object for walking meditation. Take up another object. And I'll give the example. You can use various objects, for example, Buddho, a mantra, Dhammo, or Sangho, or Arahang, and just walking up and down, repeating that mantra over and over and over again, completely establishing mindfulness. Or you can take the feelings at the soles of the feet, because we usually walk meditation barefoot, so as to highlight and accentuate the feelings at the soles of the feet. We stand at one end of the path and we feel the pressure on the feet. And as we feel the pressure on the feet, then as we lift our right foot forward, we have our hands folded in front of us, we lift our right foot forward, there is a change of pressure at the sole of the foot. The intensity changes, the vedana, the feeling changes. Then there is a rising of the pressure again as that foot, the right foot, goes down on the earth. Then feeling arises at the contact with earth. And then the lifting of the left foot, there is a change of feeling of the pressure at the sole of that foot. Then there is the arising of the pressure again as that left foot touches the earth again. And so forth with the rising of the right foot. There is the passing away of old feeling and then the arising of new feeling as that sole of the foot touches the earth again. And we keep our mindfulness and our attention on the arising and passing away of vedana, of feelings at the sole of the foot. And when we get to the middle of the path, Ajahn Chah would always recommend that we establish mindfulness. Where has my mind gone to? Am I with the feelings at the sole of the feet? Or have I gone off to thoughts about past, present, future, thoughts about this or that? Am I distracted? If we're distracted, then we bring mindfulness back to the feelings at the sole of the feet, to the process of feelings that are arising in the walking back and forth. When we reach the end of the path, then we slowly turn around and re-establish our mindfulness. Re-establish our mindfulness. Where is my mind? Is my mind, is this mind with the feelings at the sole of the feet? And then we start, having established our mindfulness, to walk again, watching the feelings arise and pass away as we lift each foot. Now initially we have to walk reasonably slowly, but not overly slowly. If we walk too fast, then you'll find that your mind will wander a lot. You have to be composed. You have to bring the mind back and enjoy the process of walking. You have to give attention to walking. This is what we call mindfulness. Mindfulness means fully applying the mind to being aware of walking when walking. To know that we're walking when we're walking. To not be up in our heads, but place our attention on what's actually happening with the body. The body is moving, and there is feelings arising associated with that movement. That's what we're placing our conscious awareness on. That's what we're trying to know. We don't need to philosophize. We don't need to solve all the intellectual problems of the world. We don't need to even contemplate the Dhamma at this point. What we need to do is develop Samma Sati, right mindfulness, perfection of mindfulness, and perfection of mindfulness on an object. And this is an object that the Buddha encouraged us to develop our mindfulness around. The arising and passing away of feeling at the sole of the feet. And as you walk up and down on the walking meditation path, if your mindfulness is with the sole of the feet, it's actually enjoyable. It's pleasurable. It becomes so refined that you see each stage of the feelings as the feelings arise, are sustained, and then pass away. You see the feeling as the foot is lifted off the ground, and then that feeling changes to upekkha vedana, neutral feeling, as the movement of the foot through the air. Then as that foot, the sole of the foot starts to touch the earth, then you see the gradual arising of new feeling and the sensations of that feeling. It's like you're walking for the first time. You're seeing the process of walking for the first time. And it's fascinating. It's interesting. It's enjoyable. And it's light and buoyant. Now, when the mind starts to enjoy this, then the mind will easily be able to concentrate on walking. So we do it with a sense of well-being, a sense of ease, a sense of comfort and sense of delight, a sense of interest and enjoyment in the process of knowing each moment of walking meditation, each moment of walking and stepping again and stepping again. It's like we're taking one step closer to Nibbana, one step closer to enlightenment. We're enjoying the process. We're not trying to force the mind to jump over this and get to the real thing. This is the real thing. Awareness of the present moment is exactly what you have to know. If you try to jump over this process, this step, then you'll miss everything. Mindfulness and concentration are extremely important in the Buddhist path. But it's because we jump over them, we miss the detail, we miss the moment, we miss the present occurrence, that we can't catch things. We don't see the subtlety. We don't see those inner peaceful states of mind. But if we are able to sustain the mind on the arising and passing away of the feeling of the feet, or on the movement of the feet, or on our mantra, whatever the object of meditation is that you find your mind likes to do on the walking path, we're able to sustain that for a long period of time, then you'll notice that the mind will become very peaceful. The mind will become buoyant. I spent some time with some Thai monks who are very close friends of mine, and one of the monks that I spent time with, after the meal, we used to finish the meal in that place at 8:30, and our kutis, our huts, were within eyesight of each other. And that monk used to walk meditation from basically 8:30 after the meal till 3 p.m. when we'd start doing the sweeping. So he would walk from 8:30 till 3 p.m. every day. And I asked him once, physically, do you find it tiring? And he said, no, it's like I'm floating. The mind finds it so delightful, so enjoyable, that it's like I don't notice time. I'm always surprised when it gets to 3 o'clock, because it seems like the whole body is floating up and down on the meditation path. That is someone who has mindfulness. That is someone who has samadhi. That is someone who is practicing well. And that's the results. And when the mind gets refined, then there's this tranquility that is there. The mind is composed. The mind is well established. And the mind is very peaceful. And at that point you might find that the intention to walk is too coarse. So then stop and stand still and take up a refined object of meditation, for example, the breath, and stand there and follow the breath. Or sit down, sit and be still, so that the mind can settle and go into a peaceful state. So if we develop the mind on our meditation, walking meditation object, we'll find that when we go to a more refined posture, then the power of that concentration is well established and is well upheld. And you can do walking meditation, and should do walking meditation, when you're on alms round, when you're walking around the monastery. That is a time to not let the mind wander off, but bring the mind back to your meditation subject. So that when you walk back from the sala to your hut, that's a time to be composed and do walking meditation. That's a time to be mindful and aware. That's a time to focus the attention on the process of each foot taking one step closer to that kuti. When you're going on alms round, it's a time to be mindful and aware, to be composed and serene, and do your walking meditation. Keep the meditation going, sustained, even, steady, consistent. And you'll find that if you're able to continue your meditation in daily life, then it gets very easy to come and do meditation when it's time to sit with a group, or when it's time to sit by yourself, because you've developed the factors in one's daily life. When walking around the monastery, when walking on alms round, when doing one's chores, one is aware, one is alert, one is mindful. And this will help to sustain this sense of well-being and ease in the mind, a sense of tranquility and composure, and that will lead to blissful states of mind. You can tell when somebody is going towards samadhi because they have a smile on their face. You can tell when somebody is going towards defilement because that is when they get angry and upset, when they're stressed, and when they're depressed, because they have no inner peace and contentment. That is wisdom, inner peace and contentment. The Buddha said that the wealthiest people in the world are those who have contentment. So Bill Gates, the Sultan of Brunei, the owner of Walmart, they're not the wealthiest people in the world. The wealthiest people in the world are those who are content. So if you're content, you have this gratitude and appreciation for what you have right here, right now. It's perfect. It's good enough. Then you're very wealthy. And you're also very wise. It's when we give in to anger and negativity and frustration and resistance and all those unwholesome qualities which we can recognize and know, that is when we're very poor, we're very impoverished. And that's when we experience the hell realms, isn't it? When the mind is frustrated and angry and upset and greedy, indulgent and lazy. And that's when the mind goes to the lower realms of existence. We don't have to ask anyone else about that. So tonight, this is an opportunity for us to hear a Dhamma talk which I hope is practical and useful, that you can take away from this hall and go back to the walking path and use it to enhance your sitting practice, to do walking meditation, to help overcome drowsiness, to help overcome lack of energy, to help bring awareness and alertness and zest and zeal to the practice, to give us another skillful tool, another skillful means for dealing with the mind, for training the mind, and for cultivating the mind, for developing the mind to these higher states of virtue, a love of virtue, a love of tranquility, and a love of wisdom.